Okay, here we are. This is supposed to be the next segment in a video about fixing the LCD screen in a Kawasaki Prairie 650. You can do brute forces, the Terexes, it'll work on all of them. Anyway, the first part of the video got corrupt, so I'm kind of gonna do a little walkthrough here as to how we got to where we are. So, this is a 2003 Kawasaki Prairie 650. It has the LCD readout up here. To get it out is very simple. You just remove the front and back plastic covers. The LCD screen sits in there. It comes out really easy. Once you have the covers off, there's a couple more screws holding it in that are really easy to see. And then you just unplug the two harnesses right here, and you'll have it out in your hands. From there, we'll walk over this way. From there, you take apart the housing, which again comes apart really easy. Consists of the front screen, the back mounting area. You take off this mounting ring so you can push the harness with the rubber grommets through. And what you're left with is your main LCD screen assembly. Let's see if I can adjust this light so it doesn't have so much glare. There we go. All right. So then you want to be able to take the LCD screen out. Now, in this particular one, I'm hoping, because I'll explain to you what's going to go on, that I can fix this one. The next step you want to do to get the glass out is on the back. You're going to see that there's 2 metal tabs there and 3 metal tabs down here. And you want to take a pair of small pliers. I have some small needle nose flatheads. And you just twist them till they're straight. And then once you twist those so that they're straight, this metal frame that holds everything on, in fact, now let me put this in the tripod and we'll continue. Why am I having a hard time? Okay, there we go. Alright, so where are we now? We are here. Okay, so this metal black frame, once you bend those tabs out, will come off of the assembly and allow you to get at the LCD screen. Now, in these models, okay, so there's the LCD screen. You can see one of the pads still is attached to it, so I'm not going to remove it. Alright, so on these LCD screens, there's actually lens material on the front and on the back. So we're going to peel off the lens material off the back, which you can use a razor to get it started on the corner. Now, this one's coming up pretty easy by itself, but it is leaving some glue behind. So we'll peel that off. And you want to get it peeled off as best you can. It's going to leave some glue behind that you're going to have to clean off. There's really no way around that. So as you peel that off, you can see underneath, as well as if you look at the material, you can see all the fading that it had on it. You can see how it's like gold in the middle and some silver and dark. That's the problem with the LCD. Now, this is where it gets to where the Kawasaki's a pain in the butt. Alright? Technically, you're supposed to change both sides of the LCD film, but Kawasaki silk screened the gas gauge and these lines onto it. So if I peel off this side and replace it, I'm going to lose the picture of the gas tank, the full and the empty, and the lines. All I'll have is those little squares that show the gas going up and down. So I'm going to attempt to just replace the back one, and we're going to do a test and see if it works. If it works, great. If not, I'm going to have to pull the front sheet off too and lose all the silkscreen stuff. So now that I've got the back off, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to clean all the glue residue off of here, and I'm going to use Goo Gone, and I took rubbing alcohol and put it in a little spray bottle, Q-tips, and a toothpick, And I'm going to remove all the leftover adhesive from here. Once I do that, we'll come back and we will cut our sheets of lens material. I'll tell you where to get this, how much it is, and the deal with that, and how to cut it. So let me pause now, and I will be back. Okay, I had put it back together with the new film on it to try it out to see if I needed to do the other side of that lens. And all of the numbers and everything read out now, but very much so at an angle, and it's dim because of that top one. So I'm going to have to peel it off with the silk screening. In the meantime, I'll show you what I bought. Let me get this out of here. Okay, this is the polarizing film. Polarized film sheets with adhesive. It's adhesive polarizer. You get 2 sheets. Each one is like 7.8 inches by 11.8 inches. And they're $15 for 2 on Amazon Prime. So now what I did was I measured, and they were 200 millimeters by 780 millimeters, and then I just marked them. It's pretty thick, the material. One side has a protective that you peel off and the screen is smooth, and the other side you peel it off and it's sticky. And then I used, these are paper cutters right here. And what I did was I put the material in there, the lens, and then you slice it. And then I just took it this way, put it in the size I needed, and sliced it. So I ended up with the square piece that I needed. Then I stuck it on, and then I went and tried it, and like I said, you can see the readout now. You can make it out, but where it would be facing me like this on the ATV, it's blank. If it was like this, I can see it clearly. If it's like that, I can see it clearly, and it's not lighting up like it should. So that front piece is too obscured. We're going to have to take it off, and let's get it off, and then I can show you how it comes apart, and we'll do the other side. You know, most LCD screens don't have things silk screened onto them, so this is a different instance. Okay, so we can, there's those tabs 1 and 2. So what we do is we straighten those on the back, and then there's 3 down here, 1, 2, 3. And you straighten those tabs out. And then once you have those 5 tabs straight, you can wiggle off the top cover. Let me just make sure they're all straight here. I got one that was just a little crooked. Let me straighten it out. That one right there. Okay. So now if we wiggle it, you can see that this assembly comes off. There we go. Okay. And what we want to do is we then want to remove the metal cover. And the metal cover comes off. We can put this back on to there. And then we've got the strips that make the connection to the LCD. Just put those over there to hold those. And then we can take the LCD out. Now, as I said, I have replaced this one, but I'm going to have to take this one off. So to get it off, you're going to do the same thing I did on the other side. You're going to get a razor blade under the corner. Oh, and when I took the last one off, I was using the Goo Gone and the rubbing alcohol. The rubbing alcohol works far better than the Goo Gone. So you want to take that off. At the same time, you want to be a little gentle with it because you don't want to break the glass. So you just kind of peel it carefully. And it's leaving behind almost all of the glue, which is going to be a real pain in the butt to get off. But It is what it is. Okay, so now, yeah, I can feel it. It's gooey. So we will take the razor blade. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing I did like on the other side. Alright, so the best way I found to do this was to put some rubbing alcohol on it, get it onto the blade, and get the blade over to the corner, and you can start working it, and you can see the blob of glue that's starting to come up on it. Once you have one corner completely done so you can get under the edge, then you can get more of this stuff off. So again, this is probably going to take me 10 minutes to get that off, so I'm going to pause and I'll be back. So I'd gotten that glass cleaned off. Go back to that in a minute and show you how I'm going to do this. You take your film. Remember, I cut, this was a 5 centimeter or 500 millimeter width that I did, and the size that I need it to be lengthwise is 78 millimeter, or 7.8 centimeter. So I'm going to mark that right now, and we'll get that set right where it needs to be cut. So I just made just a little mark on it right there with the tip of a knife. So now you take it and you insert it in, and we look for the little mark that I made, which once you slide in it's a little more difficult to see. Okay, so there's the mark I made. I'm holding it flat against the bottom. Now I lift up on this, let's see if I can reposition this so you can see. I lift up on this cutter because it's got the razor in it, and I put it in the middle of the material. Then I push down and push in one direction, lift up, and then come across, and I'm left with the square that I need. Alright, so now I'll carry you guys in here where we've been working and get this set up here. Alright, so remember I told you that one side has a film that comes off that is sticky. That's the sticky side. So this side, just let me make sure. Yes. So this is your sticky side. So let me sit down over here. Alright, let's look at this. The glass is all clean. Unfortunately, we lost the silk screening of the fuel gauge, but you know, it's the way it goes. So now this is kind of like putting a screen protector on a cell phone. Kind of the same thing. I'm just looking at it underneath a magnifier to make sure that I got it on. And then once you put it on, you want to take something like a credit card or something, just like you do when you do a screen protector on a phone, and you want to try and, if there's any bubbles in it, get out the bubbles so that'll be good. Alright. Be nice if we could buy the replacement lenses from Kawasaki, but I know there's a couple companies out there refurbish these things. Basically they're doing very similar to what we're doing here. Charge a lot of money for that. Okay, so I've got one big bubble that I gotta get out. So see if I can drag it over to the edge. See if I can get that out of there. Getting there. Get a better look here. Bring you guys over a little more. Alright, so there it is. Let's try going this way. Sometimes if you can't get to one edge, you can go to the other. So, let's see. Oh, there we go. Come on. You can do it. This is the kind of tedious stuff I usually shut the camera off for, so you guys don't have to sit here and watch all of this. If I can't get it off in the next few strokes as we go along. Yep. Alright, I'm going to pause it. I'll be back. Alright, so what we'll do now is we've just cleaned both sides nicely. Now, there's a little dimple on the glass on the side, and that's what tells you what side the orientation is. Okay, so that is the side it's going to go on. So now, from doing this before, I kind of figured out that if we put the glass into this, alright, and then we put the pieces in there, and then we put this in, everything kind of lines up when you use this little frame. Kind of works okay that way. Of course, now it's always hard trying to figure a position with the camera and everything in the way, and to get all this to work easily. But there we go. Alright, so we slid it in. First we put the glass in, then we put the plastic in. We kind of slid the two rubber contacts in with it. Alright, and now that we have that done, we're back here. And we want to put this back into those holes, which should, see if I can. Alright, so there we go. So they're all in right now. So once they're in, you'll even see that there is a small little white mark showing you where to bend it to. And we bring it down to there, bring it down to there. This one goes up, this one goes up, and this one, I'm not really sure. It doesn't really say, but we gave it the little turn. Okay, so now the screen is back in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk over to the ATV and we'll see if this worked. Needed a new screen anyway, so remember, if it doesn't work, we tried. Alright, so we're gonna plug it in. Okay, we're gonna turn the key on. And yes, I can see the screen, but same thing. It's almost like the backlight is out. I don't know if you can even make it out on the camera. But everything is there, whereas before it wasn't. So everything is there, but let me turn on the headlights and maybe it'll do something. Let me get the camera out of the holder and I can show you. Let's see. Oh yeah, with the lights on you can see it. So maybe there's supposed to be a backlight or something. So now you can see it, and everything is back. It's just not, it's much darker background than it should be. That might be the problem. Maybe it's the color of the tinting. But now the LCD works, whereas before you barely got anything on it. So at least now there's something on it. I'll have to see what I can do about the lighting so that I'll be able to see it. And again, all the way down at that angle, you can still see it. You come up, you can still see it, you can still see it, and then it starts to fade out right there. But that would be facing you while you're riding, so it does work. But I think that the film might be too dark is the problem that I put in there. So let me see about getting some lighter colored film, but now the LCD screen does work and it never used to. So I'm going to pause here and see if we can improve on this. I got the lens put onto the back of the LCD screen, and I've also put it on the front, and I don't know if you can see from there, but the screen, in fact, let me adjust this a little. The screen was very dark. Let me turn on the headlight. Now you can probably see it better. But it's also reversed. From the factory, it was that light color that the numbers are in the background, and the letters were black. So that was a problem I had. Well, after doing a little bit of research about LCDs and the way that this works is that the piece that I put on the front, okay, once you put the polarizing film on the back, you need to take the one in the front and you need to start to turn it, and now you'll see that it reversed. Now the background is the color it usually is from the factory, and the numbers are black. So you find the point where it's the brightest and best working, and that's going to be, so I need to take a new piece of larger film and twist it until it gets to the point where the readout looks the clearest, and like the factory, mark it and cut it. So I am going to do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, here we are back on the bench. I've got the piece cut to the right orientation now. As I mentioned in the prior section of the video, let me go grab a piece. Okay, once you put the first piece of polarizer onto the back of the LCD panel, when you do your front one, what you'll see is as you overlap them and you turn them, they change color and darkness. It can get completely see-through almost, or it can turn black. So I guess I had them at the wrong, where they were turning as at the darkest, so you could barely see it, and that also inverted the colors. The numbers became the color of the Kawasaki background and vice versa. So now we have the correct size piece, and I twisted it, marked it, cut it. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to get this apart. There's 5 metal tabs on the back, and what you do is you grab your pliers and you straighten them so that they fit the slots, and then you just kind of, above and below, you kind of grab the metal cover while putting your finger on the glass to keep it down, and you just kind of like start to lift it, and then it will come off. And that's your cover. Now I'm going to clean those insides before I put this on, because they have all this, I don't know, dust or corrosion or... Okay, so now we have the glass piece that we can take off, and you don't have to worry about the making sure you get it on correctly, because the glass actually has a small little raised notch that fits into a notch down here, so you're going to put it on in the right spot. Now also, the back of the LCD panel, the glass is a little smaller and it fits into the notch, so you're going to know front to back, and you're going to know left to right, so you don't really need to worry about that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some rubbing alcohol, and of course I didn't bring any Q-tips or paper towels. Give me a second. Alright, we've got our Q-tips and paper towels. Now, I found rubbing alcohol to work the best of everything. I tried Goo Gone, and I didn't really, people had said they used acetone. I really didn't want to do that. Acetone's kind of strong. I mean, I know it, you know, evaporates quickly, but I just didn't want to do that. So what I did was, I took a Q-tip, and I put some rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. I just push it to the tip, and then I wet the end of the Q-tip, and this helps you get off all the residue that was on there from the prior piece of polarizer. Cleans it up. Nice. Now, since I had put on a new piece of polarizer, there's not a lot this time around. The original one that was on there from when this thing was built, you figure 2003, we're looking at what, 18 years? 19 years. So yeah, there was a buildup of crap on there. But now I should be able to just do it once, wipe it down on the paper towel, let me inspect it under the magnifier, and we're looking great. Okay, so now I've got my piece cut for it. One side is sticky and one side is smooth. So now we're going to figure out which side is which here. We're going to start to peel one side, and we're just going to, well, I want to peel one side. There we go. Alright, so I believe that's the sticky side. It's not, when I say sticky, it's like barely sticky. Yes. Alright, so this is the sticky side. Okay. We're going to take it, and we're going to line it up. Let me do this down here. Get it lined up. Actually, let me do this under the magnifier to really get a good look at what's going on. I might edit this out. It's taking this a little bit more time than I was planning on. Alright, I think I got it on. So now I've got it on, and you can already see the color that it has now. Before it was much darker. So I have a little roller, okay? You can use a roller, or you can use something that's like a credit card, and just go along, almost just like you would if you were putting a protector screen on a cell phone. Just get out all your bubbles. Now you can wet this when you put it on. That's much easier to get out any bubbles and imperfections and stuff like that. But then you'd have to give it, 24 hours to dry once you did before you could put this back together. Now, I have a couple of little bubbles in there. I'm hoping they don't show up. And also, a lot of them dry up after a couple of days when it's in the sun. All right, so we've done that. Now we're just going to wipe the back. Now we're going to remove the coating from the front. Now to remove the coating from the front, let me smooth this over a little. To remove the coating from the front, I usually look under a magnifier and I find the edge of it right at the corner, and it's easy to lift it with the corner of a razor blade. So what I do is I lift the corner, and then I just fold it a little to leave this edge to pull, and you pull it off. Now that it's off, actually look, you start to see things in the glass now just from the, I guess from touching it with my fingers, you start to see readouts. Alright, so now that we've got that done like that, okay, what we're going to do is we find that edge, and we're going to hold this up. Now these rubber pads here, these are what makes the contacts for the LCD panel. So you want to make sure that you have those straight up and down and ready for the glass to sit on top of them. Okay, let me find my edge with my bump. That's there. Okay, so it's going to go like this. All right, we put it on there, and we get those under the edge like that. Just make sure that they are in at the bottom where they're supposed to be. Okay, so now you're ready to put your your metal back on. So, oh, wait, I want to clean those. So let's just rest this here where the glass won't slide off, and let's give the old Q-tip a little stuff there. And we're just going to run it along the inside edge of the metal frame and clean that off of there. We're going to do the same thing on this other side. It's like a powdered residue, almost like when aluminum oxidizes, but none of this is aluminum, so maybe there was some type of contact material, paste or something. Okay, so now that we've got that clean, we're going to put this back on to the assembly. And remember, there's 2 metal tabs and 3 metal tabs. The 2 metal tabs go to the top. So what you're going to do is, I did it on the 3 metal tabs. I got that side over the rubber pad and the glass first, and then I get the 2 on the other side, and then you just kind of gently get it to where it's going to go, and then you want to get it so that it's in the slots on the board. And we're going to see what's going on here. Alright, so now we're pretty much in. For some reason it's rocking. Why? One of the metal tabs didn't come through. Let's see. Why is it rocking? Did I do something wrong? Let's see. Feels like it's rocking on the bottom. Why? That looks good. That looks good. Okay. So we insert. Is it the... Okay, it was the plastic base that's in there has like... No, that's not it. Did I put it in backwards maybe? Let's take a look at this. I'm going to pull this off. Well, we can pull this whole assembly off first. Well, yeah. So let's take this up and see what's going on here. Did I put the tab on the wrong side maybe? There's the bump. There's the opening. So that should be fine. Glass sits inside, right? Then we've got the rubber strip. And the rubber strip fits in here. Okay. Glass is in. Right. Put it on there. Let me just make sure that... Oh, it's a bigger pain than I thought putting it back. Alright, so we need to get the little tabs in on the cover, which go into their holes. Let's take this one off as well. Alright, what do we got? We got 2 holes that go right there. So that's in there now nice and flat. Put our pieces of the rubber strips in there. Just get them so that they're positioned properly. Get that one in there. That one's positioned properly. Now we've got the glass with the edge, right? And we know that... Okay, so... There's our edge. The front has the longer glass on it. Right? So now... Alright, so we're okay with that one. We got to raise that one up a little. Positioning those little strips is the pain in this whole deal. It's like you get one but not the other, and alright, so we've got that one on that side, that one on that side. So now it appears that we're lined up. I just want to push the rubber pieces in on the bottom. Is that one back out? No, it's good. Alright, so now we're back to the metal top. The 2 pins at the top. Okay. Get it in there. And it's still rocking for some reason. Why? Why is it rocking? Okay, there we go. So it appeared that the problem is the clear plastic lens that helps the light get through it when you turn the headlights on. I guess it came out of its pinholes. Alright, so now we're going to twist the metal tabs on the back, and there's even a little diagram for them to show you where to twist them to. There's like a little line, little white line that shows you twist us to here. So we got that one twisted. That one we're going to twist a little bit more. Okay, and now we're going to go to the other 3. Now the 2 outer ones also have that twist line to show you where to go to. Okay, we got one. Now we're going to twist the other. Okay, now the middle one doesn't really have a twist line, but it is also like a what do you call it? A bent pin. But it doesn't have the breaks in it. You just kind of twist it a little, I guess, because it doesn't have the same marks. So now you're connected. Your lens is there. Now before I put it back together, we're going to take a walk over to the ATV. We're going to plug it in. We're going to see how it looks now. And hopefully the brightness will be fixed. I will be back. We're back over at the Kawasaki. I've got it plugged in. We're going to turn the key on. Alright, and now it looks like it did from the factory. Let me zoom in for you. So now it looks like it did from the factory. You've got the black numbers with the green background, or the, I should say, yellowy green. And then if we turn on the light, you'll see that it looks like it did before. So now everything's working on it, and I can read everything. The only thing we're missing, like I had mentioned, is you're missing the picture of the gas tank, the picture of the gas pump, and then the line underneath it says low or whatever it said, because those were silk screened on to the Kawasaki one. There was also just a line that went across here and a line down to section off your clock and your mileage. But as you can see, everything's working nice and clear, readable again. So we're going to shut the lights. And we're going to power it down. Alright, and I will meet you back at the bench again. So we're back at the bench. It's working. So we're going to reassemble it now. So the first thing you have to do is, well, actually, I noticed that these contacts were a little dirty with the same white powdery stuff that I cleaned off of the screen cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of rubbing alcohol onto this Q-tip, which isn't really easy. I might want to brush it on because the little hairs from the Q-tip sometimes will get stuck on the little solder points. But yeah, I can see the dirt coming up onto this. Alright, now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to blot it dry with this paper towel. And now this piece of tape was covering those connections, and it's still sticky and gooey, so I'm just going to use the same piece of tape that was on it from the factory to go over that, just like that, and it holds. Now the next thing we want to do is we're going to put the back back onto this. So what we do is we feed the plugs through it like so. Come on. Got one. Why does the second one want to be difficult? There we go. Alright, now we want to feed through this rubber grommet. Okay. And then we want to take this metal one and put it over everything. So now what we want to do is we want to take the rubber grommet, and let me see what's the top and the bottom on this. I believe that the two go on the top. So if the two go on the top, it would be like this. Alright, so we put the rubber grommet, we fit it into the grooves, like so. Okay, and once your rubber grommet's in, then this metal, I call it a metal washer or metal plate, that will sit in around that rubber grommet to keep it from pulling out. And we'll put these little screws back in. Like this. Okay, so once you've got that bracket on, then this assembly here, there's a couple of pins that keep you from putting it in the wrong way. So what we do is we line up all those things. Let's see. We want to line them up. And we want to line up the others. Or did I put this in upside down? It's possible. I may have put it in upside down. So, if that's the case, what we want to do is loosen these up. I should have checked that first. Again, this is the first one of these I ever did, so this video is not as smooth as I was hoping it would be. But, yeah, now we can just spin that so that it's going to be in the... Oh, okay, and that lines up there. So now we should be able to line everything up. Yes. And then once we get it all lined up, we put the screws in for that hold this in. There you go. So now we're lined up. And on this one, there's only 2 screws that hold the PC board to the housing. This video is going to be really choppy compared to most of my videos. Normally I do something a few times and then I'll shoot a video, whereas this time I make sure that grommet, there's a little rubber washer that fits in here like a rubber gasket. I'm just making sure that that is sitting in properly. Alright, my battery had died. Okay, so all I did was I was making sure that the rubber gasket that goes around the housing was in place. And it is. So now that we put the 2 screws in to hold that in, we can put the cover on. I'm just going to quickly clean the cover with some rubbing alcohol. Clean the inside of the lens. Okay, that looks good. Give it a little dry with the other side. Alright, so now we'll put the cover on. And make sure that that rubber gasket sits in place. Appears to be. Okay, and now we're going to put the screws in that hold that on, which I believe are these. So we'll put these in. Like so. Oh, wait a minute. Did I put it on backwards again? I don't think so. Alright, so we'll tighten these screws down. Again, I apologize for this video. This is going to be a horrible one in my series. But at least it should help you. And then if I do another one of these, I'll do it properly and I'll already know what I'm doing. But I figure this is a good one at least to get out there to help some people out. Okay, so now for this little tie down, there is a screw hole. I want to say it's this one right here, but I can't be sure. I know that sounds pretty stupid, but I think it's that one that goes in there. Because what happened was some of the screws flipped over and I couldn't see. Yeah, I think that's it. Alright, so you've got that tie down point there. You've got your 4 screws holding it in, and now you need the bracket that goes on that holds the mount onto it. Now the mount goes just like that, and then we have washers and nuts for that. So we're putting all of that on. And then once the washers and nuts are on, you're ready to go out and put it back in to the ATV. So what I'm going to do is we are going to stop here where we are. We're all reassembled. I'm going to probably clean this up a little, just wash it up on the outside now, and then I will go over and we will assemble it. I will be back. Here we are back. Okay, so we had this that we had mounted. Now we've got the rubber ring that goes on it like this, the little gasket, right? And then you've got your plastic that this mounts into. And what we want to do is we just want to make sure that the gasket fits into the plastic, which is easier said than done. I've always felt that they have the fit on this way too tight compared to what it should be. It's always difficult. So what I usually do, what I'm usually forced to do, is I'll start the screws first, and then I will try and get that measured in. So we will start our screws to keep that in tight where it needs to go. And then we will try and get that in correctly. We're all the way around except on the top. So on the top, I just kind of like bend the plastic a little bit. And I think she's in there now. Yeah, okay, so we're in all the way around. So now while I hold that at the top, because the top's the one that always seems to pop off where it's the thinnest, we are going to put our screws in, tighten them down. We don't want to go too tight because you know that these plastics strip out really easy. So you just want to go until you feel them start to get snug, not really try and tighten them, or else guaranteed they're going to strip. In fact, when I bought this, it was already missing. One of the screw tabs was broken off from somebody that had taken it apart and over tightened it. Okay, so now we're there. We're going to come back over to the Kawasaki. Alright, and then we are going to put the plugs on, and we're going to test it before we finish our assembly here. So get the plugs fit through there. Alright. Oh, you know what? That screw in the bottom is supposed to go through this little bracket here. It's very difficult to get to. I will take it out and put it back in. Let me see what we've got. Alright, so we'll plug in the, again, that screw didn't go through there when I took it apart, so obviously the last owner hadn't, and I didn't even realize it until I just looked at it. Alright, so we get this all connected. Alright, so now we're all connected, and like I said, I will add that screw into the base. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move you over. In fact, I'm going to take the camera off of the tripod, and we'll bring you over to here where we're all back in, and we'll turn it on, and there's the readout just like it should be. Now I have a lot of glare, so let me turn on the headlight and you'll really see it. So there's your readout the way it should be, and it's all fixed, and you can still see it in the daytime. Again, without the glare you can see it a lot better, but it's working, so that's a win. We've got our speedometer, our gas gauge back, everything's working. Alright, so that's where I'm going to end this video. there, because I assume you know how to put the other plastic back on. I hope I've helped somebody out. Again, sorry about the choppy nature of this whole presentation. This was the first one. It was a trial and error learning experience, but the next one I do, I will make a much better video for you. Alright, thanks for watching.